I had never expected my baby shower to be a grand spectacle. I wasn't asking for chandeliers or a luxury venue, just a warm, cozy gathering with people who loved me, people who meant something to me. This was my first child, and after months of emotional turbulence, physical exhaustion, and long nights whispering to my belly, praying for everything to be okay, I wanted, no, I needed, a moment where the world slowed down and just celebrated this new life with me. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. I spent weeks planning, from the pastel-colored invitations that I handwrote and sealed myself to the tiny floral arrangements I put together with aching feet and a determined smile. I even baked trial cupcakes 3 times before settling on the perfect lemon vanilla recipe. Every little thing I did with love. And every time I got tired, I reminded myself, it will be worth it when they show up, when my family shows up, especially my parents, because despite everything, I still believed they would come through, that maybe this moment would be different, that they'd see this child as a new chapter in our lives, that they'd finally step in, not for my brother, not for each other, but for me. You see, my parents have always had a way of prioritizing my brother, Nick, the golden child, the one who barely graduated high school, bounced between jobs, dated women like disposable lighters, and yet somehow could do no wrong. I was the opposite. Straight A's, scholarship to college, never once called home crying for money. They praised me for being so mature, but behind those words was a distance, like they didn't quite know how to connect with me because I wasn't a problem that needed fixing. When I called my mom to tell her about the baby shower date, her response was, "Oh, that's nice, honey. Let's see how your father's back feels that weekend." I smiled through the phone as always. I wanted to say, "Can't you just show up for me once?" But I didn't, because I had learned not to ask. Then came the week before the shower. I called to remind them. She answered. Her voice was distant, almost distracted. She said, "Oh, sweetheart, we've been so tired lately. Your father's knees have been bothering him, and I'm just drained." There was a pause. I waited for but of course we wouldn't miss it, but it never came. She simply said, "We'll try, but we may need to rest that weekend." It stung, deeply, but still, I didn't argue. I said, "Okay, I understand," and hung up. Saturday arrived. The sun beamed through the windows early, golden and promising. My little rented backyard venue was dressed in soft peach and dusty rose. A banner that said, "Welcome Baby," fluttered in the breeze. My best friend from college drove in from another state. My neighbor helped string lights across the garden. People brought tiny gifts wrapped in sparkly paper. I wore a white dress that hugged my swollen belly, and I tried so hard to be present. But every time someone walked through the gate, I hoped it was them, my parents, and every time it wasn't. Then, about an hour in, when the party was buzzing with conversation and the food table had been picked clean, I checked my phone. A notification blinked on the screen. Facebook. My breath caught in my throat. It was a post from my brother, a barbecue. Photos. There was my mother, laughing with a glass of sangria in hand, her hair curled perfectly, wearing her favorite red cardigan. My father, standing next to the grill, flipping burgers like a pro, his bad knees apparently cured. My brother's yard, full of people, loud music playing in the background, even balloons strung across his back fence. The caption read, "BBQ with the best. Thanks for coming, Mom and Dad. Wouldn't be the same without you." My hands went numb. I zoomed in on their faces, smiling, comfortable, alive. I reread the caption. "Wouldn't be the same without you." But my baby shower apparently could be. I sat there staring at the screen while guests around me played silly games, guessing the baby's weight and due date. No one knew that at that moment. My heart was crumbling inside me. I excused myself and went into the bathroom of the little venue. I sat on the toilet seat, the echo of laughter just outside, and I let silent tears fall. I didn't sob, I didn't wail, just quiet, warm tears streaming down, each one carving its own path down my cheeks, not from anger, at least not yet, but from a kind of disappointment that roots itself in your bones. The kind that doesn't go away easily. They didn't come. And not only did they not come, they chose someone else. Again. And not for something important, not a wedding or emergency, but a barbecue. A casual backyard barbecue. And that's when something shifted. I wiped my face, looked at my reflection, and said to myself, "You deserve better. Your child deserves better." I wouldn't say anything yet, not during the party. I'd go back out. I'd cut the cake. I'd smile for photos. But I knew one thing for sure. They might have missed my baby shower, but they were going to remember this. The next morning, I woke up early. The baby had started kicking more these days, as if reminding me he was still there, strong, growing, and completely unaware of the emotional war I was waging with the people who were supposed to love me the most. I scrolled through my phone again. The Facebook post was still there. Dozens of comments flooded in. "Looks like such fun. Nick always throws the best parties. Your parents look amazing." Heart emojis, laugh reacts. I felt like I was scrolling through a parallel universe. My universe had pastel balloons and a cake that read, "Can't wait to meet you, little one." But no mom, no dad. Just me pretending it didn't hurt. I didn't say anything to them that night. I didn't want to. I needed time to sit with what I felt, because I didn't want to act from pain. I wanted to act from clarity. 2 days passed before I made a move. It started with a package. A small brown box wrapped in light blue paper. I left it on their front porch with no note. Inside was one of the tiny party favors I had made for the shower, a candle with baby James coming soon, written on the side in gold script. I knew my mom would recognize it instantly. Taped inside was a photo from the party, one where I stood alone, smiling softly, holding a slice of cake next to an empty chair reserved for them. That was the first breadcrumb. Then I blocked them. On Facebook, Instagram, even from my phone for a few days. I didn't want to be cruel. I wanted them to feel the silence that followed their absence. I wanted them to sit in the space they left empty at my shower. Let the quiet speak. And it did. By the end of the week, my mom was calling my husband, frantic. "Why isn't she answering me? What happened? Did something happen to the baby?" My husband, bless his calm nature, replied with a simple, "Maybe you should ask her what you missed." My father sent a text the next morning, a short one. "We're sorry we couldn't come. It wasn't personal." And that's when I snapped, not in rage, but with truth. I unblocked them just to send one message. I typed slowly, carefully. "You said you were tired, that Dad's knees hurt, that you needed rest. But you had the energy to laugh and dance at Nick's barbecue. You didn't just miss my shower. You made it clear that it wasn't important enough to you, that I wasn't important enough. This wasn't the first time you've made that choice, but it's the last time I'll pretend it didn't matter. When your grandson is born, you'll meet him on my terms. If I let you meet him at all." Then I turned off my phone and cried, not because I regretted saying it, but because I finally said something I should have said years ago. The next weeks were quiet. No texts, no calls. I went to my doctor appointments alone. I folded little onesies and painted clouds on the nursery walls while humming lullabies under my breath. It was lonely, but it was mine. All mine. Then, one evening, a letter came in the mail. It was from my mom. Her handwriting was shaky. I almost didn't open it, but I did. "I don't know how to explain what we did. We always thought you were the strong one, the one who didn't need us the way Nick did. That was our mistake. We confused independence with not needing love. We were wrong. I was wrong. I want to be there for your son, but only if you'll have me. If not, I understand. Just know this. I kept your candle. I light it every night." I stared at that letter for a long time. I didn't respond right away. I didn't even cry. I just placed it in the drawer next to the baby's crib and went to bed. A month later, James was born. Healthy, loud, perfect. The night I came home from the hospital, I sat with him against my chest, his tiny breath syncing with mine, and I thought about the people I wanted in his life. People who would show up. People who wouldn't need reminders that he mattered. So I made a decision. I sent a photo of James to my mom. No words. Just a picture of him wrapped in a light blue blanket, eyes half open, already full of curiosity. She replied 3 minutes later. He's beautiful, just like you were. I hope one day I get the chance to say that in person. I haven't decided yet. I'm not rushing forgiveness, because healing isn't instant, love isn't automatic. But what I do know is this: I will raise my son knowing his worth, knowing he never has to earn love. And if my parents want to be part of that journey, they'll have to prove it, not with words, not with letters, but by finally showing up, like they should have all along. Because some absences don't go unnoticed, and some memories, like a forgotten seat at a baby shower, never truly fade.